Hi everyone, welcome to Learn and Code. In the previous sessions, we had a discussion on lists. In those sessions, we have defined that a list is the collection of similar or dissimilar data items. When you take the concept of structures in C programming, in that we discussed that a structure is going to store the same kind of elements, or we can say the data elements. The structure is unable to store the different type of elements. But to store the different types of data elements in C programming, we use the concept of unions. That means we have separately using structures for same kind of data elements and unions for the different. But in case of Python programming, when you use the concept of lists, one list can be used to store the multiple kind of data elements. That means we can store integers along with floats along with character type of data items. Means that a list can be defined as a collection of similar, or we can say different or say dissimilar data types. After that, we have said that the list can be either single dimensional list or multi-dimensional list. We have also seen how to access the individual elements of the list, either it may be the single dimensional list and multi-dimensional list in theoretical classes. After that, we have seen some of the operations on lists. That means how to add the elements into the list. There are three options to add the elements into the list. The first operation that we have used in theoretical classes is first one append. After that, you can use insert method, and also we have used the concept of extend. These are the three methods, that means append, insert and extend, by which we can add the elements into the list. That is about the theoretical concept in the previous sessions. In today's class, we are going to have the practical implementation of all these theoretical concepts. Let us see. Now let us work with the list. Take the variable name list is equals to, just I'm writing square brackets. Now the list variable is called object, and right side we have square brackets. This is the syntax for creating an empty list, right? Now you take another list name num, or the object name num is equals to, within the square brackets, just I'm writing 1 comma 2 comma 3 comma 4. So here just I'm storing the integers, 4 integers in the variable num, right? Just I'm taking the integer list num. Next, I'm taking another list, real is equals to, just I'm writing 1.5 comma, just I'm writing 2.5 comma 3.5. So like that, I'm going to take the third list real, and that real list is going to contain the three values which are of type float. Now after this, we are having character list here. Character list means it is going to contain either characters or we can say strings. For example, within the single quotes, I'm writing a comma, in the single quotes, next I'm writing b comma, the single quotes c. Just here I'm writing this. So totally we have how many lists? Four lists. The first one is the empty list, and second one is the integer list, and third one is the floating point list, and fourth one is the character list, or we can say strings. Now, is it necessary to create the separate list for integers, separate list for the real values, and separate list for the characters? No, it's not required. As we said that in the definition, a list can store different data items. That means we can store at the same time integers, characters, and real values. Now, for example, you take other variable name my list. Here, in this case, what I'm going to do is I'm writing 1, 2, 3, 4, right? These are the integer values. After this, you can take 5.6, comma 7.5, comma 8.9. These are the real values. Next, here I'm writing A, and next I'm writing B, next I'm writing C. These are the character values, right? Now you can store the values like this also in a single list, my list. Now, if you type my list, you are going to get the elements. So we have integers along with the real values, along with the strings, or we can say the character data items. This is the advantage of having multiple data items in the list. If you want to store specifically integers, no problem. You can store integers like num. If you want to store specifically real values, it's okay. Separately, you can store, or if you want to store the combination of all these values, you can store in a single list like my list. This is the way of storing the elements into the list. Now I'm going to talk about what is mean by the one-dimensional list and what is mean by the two-dimensional list, or we say multi-dimensional list. If you observe, all these four list num, real, and character list and my list, all the variables are comes under the single dimensional list. What do you mean by the single dimensional list? In the single dimensional list, the data items, or we can say the values, are arranged one after the other, or the values are stored sequentially. Now, what about the multidimensional list? Multidimensional list is the list in which we are going to have one list in another list. Let us take example M list. Here I'm writing multidimensional list. Here you see, here I'm writing 1 comma 2 comma 3 comma 4. This is how many elements? 4 elements, comma. After writing 1 2 3 4, I'm going to have another sublist 5 comma 6 comma 7. Okay, now after this I'm going to have 8 comma 9. If you observe this, how many elements are there in M list? In the M list, entire M list, we have 1 2 3 4 4 elements, and the list 5 6 7 is treated as the fifth element, fifth data item. After that, 8th, 6th, and the 9 value comes under 7th. Totally, there are how many elements in the my list? 7 elements. But in this M list, we are having the fifth element as the list. Fifth element is the list, means we are having list in another list. That is called multi-dimensional list. Now we will see how to access the elements of the list called my list. If I say M list, not my list, here I'm writing M list of 0. Just I'm writing like this. M list of 0 means the first data item 1. We know that this is the first data item. The index of the first data item is 0. So that's why whenever we say M list of 0, we are getting 1. Okay. Now, if I say M list of 5, if I say 5, now we are going to have the element 8. Why 8? Why? Because this is 0. This is index 0. And the second element index is 1. Third element 3 index is 2. Fourth element index is 3. Okay. Now, this 5, 6, 7 comes under single data item. That is, it becomes M list of 4. Whenever we say M list of 5, we are obtaining this element 8. Now, if I say M list of 4, now what we are going to get? We are going to get the list 5, 6, 7. Why? Because it comes under the fifth element whose index is 4. Okay. Now, how to get the element 5 from this list? This is the entire sublist which comes under the fifth data item whose index is 4. Okay. Now, how to access the element 5 from this M list of 4? So, within this list, again, the index starts with 0 as we have seen in theoretical classes. Now, here we have to say that M list of, already we have mentioned it is the fourth item, that means the fifth data item whose index is 4. Now, if you want to get the first element of the fourth data item, that means whose index is 4. Now, you have to mention the subscript again, 4 of 0. Now, you say, whenever we say M list of 4 of 0, we get 5. If you want to get this 6, just you have to say M list of 4 of 1. Just here, if you say in place of 0, 1, then we are going to get the element 6. Right? If I say M list of minus 1, we know the elements can be accessed by using negative indexes also. Right? When you say minus 1, then we are going to get the last element. What is the last element here? 9. You are getting the 9. The element we are obtaining is 9. Now let us take another example. MM list, just a new name for multi-dimensional list, is equals to left square bracket. Just I'm writing 1 comma 2. Right here, I'm going to take another sublist 3 comma 4 comma 5. Okay, here I'm going to take another list 6 comma 7 comma 8. Okay, after this, I'm going to have the element 9. Next, I'm going to close the square bracket. After this, I'm writing 10 comma 11. Okay, so here left square bracket, here I'm going to close this, and here I'm going to use the closing brace. Right, this is one another multi-dimensional list. Here total how many elements are there? This is the first element and this is the second element, and here the third element is nothing but again okay, sublist of this. Now within this sublist, we have again another sublist 6, 7, 8. Okay, and here this is the this is the first item, this is second item, and from here this is third item, and this becomes the fourth item, and this is the fifth one. Okay, now how to access these elements we will see. See, if I say mm list of 0, if I say 0, now what is the first element? 1. If you take for example, control C, here I'm writing will be, now in place of 0, if you write 1, then you are getting 2. Okay, in place of this, if you write 2, then we are going to get the third item. That means 0, 1, 2. Item, third item having the index 2. So that's why this entire list comes under the third item. Now, within this list of 2, we have 3, 4, 5, and 6, 7, 8 is another sublist. Now, if I say list of 2 of 0, here I'm writing list of another square bracket I'm using and I'm writing, just wait. Here I'm writing square brackets, just I'm writing like this. List of 2. This is comes under list of 2. In this, the first element is 3. To access the first element 3 from this 2, you have to mention 2 of 0. Now, if I write 2 of 1, we will get 4, right? 2 of 1, we will get 4. Similarly, if you write 2 of 2, what we get? 5. If we get 2 of 3, then what we are going to get? In this case, we are going to get the sublist 6, 7, 8. How to get the first element 6 from this? From this, if you want to get the first element, just what you do is in 2 of 3, you write another index 0 so that you will get the 6. Like that, we can get 7. To get 7, again, what you do, just you write the same thing in place of 0, just you write 1. Okay, now we will get 7. And also, when you say 2 in the last subscript, if you say 2, now we will get 8. Now, how to get the last element? To get the last element, what you write is list of 0, 1, 2. How many elements are there? If I say list, we are going to get the same element. Now, this is 0, and this is 1, and this comes under entirely 2, and this is third one, and this is fourth one. So, last element is list of 4. Just you write like this. Now, you get 11. Or we can say list of -1. So here we get the 11. So this is a way of accessing the elements of two-dimensional list, or we can say multi-dimensional list. Next, we are going to see the operation that are to be performed on the list to add the elements into the list. Now we'll see the operations. The first one we are talking about is append, and second one is insert, and third one is extend, by which we can add the elements into the list. After that, we'll see the remaining operations on the list. Now let us discuss the first two method, append. Why I'm taking as a method? Why? Because we are working on objects, so that's why as object-oriented programming, Python is the object-oriented programming language. So that's why we are going to implement methods on objects. Now let us create first object. Assume that the list is equals to, just now we said, an empty brackets, square brackets, which indicates the empty list. That means we have created the empty list, right? Now there are no elements in the list. Now what we are going to use, we are going to implement the first method, append. Now how to use append? So take the object name list dot, and you write the method append. In parentheses, you have to mention the values you are going to enter, or we are going to append. Now what is the main purpose of append method? Append is going to add the elements at the end of the list. Initially there are no elements in the list, that means it is empty, so it is going to add the elements first, and second element is added at the end. Second means it becomes the second element, the last element, right? Now for example, here I'm writing the value 1. You say I have appended 1 into the list. Now total how many elements are there? Only one element. In the same way, if you want to add multiple elements, just I'm going to use the same method repeatedly, right? Instead of one, you can give, right? Now like this, I'm going to add the elements at the end, right? So here, I'm going to add the elements, some of the elements like this. Okay, here I'm going to add, I'm going to repeat the same methods 5 times. I'm going to enter the values 5. First, I have appended 1 into the empty list. Now the list is going to contain only 1. After the 2 is added at the end, that means last element becomes 2. Next 3 is added at the end, that means last element becomes 3. Next 4 is added after that. 5 is added at the end, and the last element now becomes 5. If you say list, now we are going to get the elements like. So this is the method of adding the elements at the end of the list. That is about the append method. Now, if you want to add a particular element in a particular position, append method is not useful. We are using only the append to add the element at the end. We cannot store the element at a particular position in the list. That is the drawback of append. So if you want to add the element in any position, then you will use the concept of insert. Now, assume that I'm going to implement the method called insert. Okay, I'm using insert. Now the parameters we are going to supply for the insert is the first one you have to mention the position, and second one you have to enter either element which is integer or the real value or character value. First argument is the position and second is the element that we are going to insert. For example, here 1 comma, assume that I'm going to insert like this. I'm going to insert the character A. At what position? 1. So previously at the position 1 we have the element 2, right? Here the element is 2. But here I'm going to insert A at the position 1. Now 2 moves right side. At place of 2 you are going to get the character A. Now if you say list, you see here. So this how the insert is going to work. Can you insert an element into the empty list? Yes. Okay, no problem. But you have to mention the position 0. So when there are no elements. So this is a way of inserting the element at a particular position by using the insert method. Now, what do you mean by the, so here just I have inserted only the single element A. Can you insert an entire list? Yes. Can you append an entire list? Yes. For example, so if you consider this, we have the elements 1 comma A 2 3 4 5 to the list. For example, I'm writing like this list dot, I'm using append. Okay. Now, instead of adding a single element, can you add the sublist? Yes. Here I'm writing the sublist like this 6, 7, 8. Okay. Just instead of adding only one element, I'm going to add the sublist 6, 7, 8. If you write list, yes, 6, 7, 8 becomes the list becomes the last item in the list. So like this, for the insert operation also, if you say list dot insert, assume that I want to insert another sublist at the position 3, for example, and the sublist we are going to enter insert is, assume that D comma, for example, just I'm writing E. Okay, now is it going to work? Yes. Now if I say list, we are going to get this, right? We can add a single element, an integer, real value, character, or you can also add a list of items, a list sublist. That is how append as well as the insert is going to work. Now, after this, we are going to talk about the extend method. What do you mean by the extend? See, extend is different from these methods, right? Extend is going to extend the existing list or previous list. For example, assume that here I'm writing list 1 is equals to, I'm writing 1 comma 2 comma 3 comma 4. Now I'm writing list 2 is equals to 5 comma 6 comma 7 comma 8. There are two lists. Okay, now for example, here I'm writing list 1 dot append. In bracket, here I'm writing list 2. So in this case, what happens? We are appending the list 2 to the list 1. What is list 2? 5, 6, 7, 8. That means the list 2, 5, 6, 7, 8 becomes the last data item. Okay, means that the list 1 is not extended like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, list 1 elements 1, 2, 3, 4 becomes the 4 elements. But when you use the append method, the list 2, 5, 6, 7, 8 becomes the 5th data item. You see, if I say list 1, you see, if you observe this, these are the previous elements of the list 1. Okay, now the last data item 5, 6, 7, 8 is this list 2. Okay, now the append method here is not going to extend the list 1, just it is going to add the sublist 5, 6, 7, 8 as the last data item. Now if I say, for example, list 3, just I'm writing list, I'm going to use list 3. List 3 is equals to, just I'm writing 9 comma 8 comma 7. This is one list, right? Now list 4 is equals to, just I'm writing 10 comma, just I'm writing 11 comma 12, right? These are the two lists. Now I'm going to implement the list 3 dot extend. I'm using the method extend. Here I'm writing list 4. Just wait, list 4. Now in this case, what happened? What are the elements in the list 3? 9, 8, 7. So along with 9 comma 8 comma 7, the list 4 elements comes under the, along with 9, 8, 7, we are going to have after 7 10 comma 11 comma 12. So let us see this. If I say list 3, you see that. See, the list 4, 10, 11, 12 is not added as the separate data item. Those are treated as the elements of the list 3, continuous elements. Just list 3 elements are 9, 8, 7. Now list 4 is going to extend the list 3. That means 9, 8, 7 is extended as 9, 8, 7, 10, 11, 12. If you use the append method, 10, 11, 12 is added as the last data item. But this is not the case in the extend. This is the main difference between extend and append. Okay. So with this, we have completed the operations like append, insert, and extend. Next, we will see the remaining operations in the next class. With this, I'm going to close the session. Thank you for watching.